Hi, I'm Owen Stewart. Welcome to the first edition of Blue Streak Sports Talk. I'm here with Owen Marshall, Simon Beach, and Maya Wade, and we're going to run you through everything going on in the world of sports this week. First off, we'll go through some high school stuff. We got our winter sports beginning. What are you guys looking for the winter sports season?
Expectations? We'll start with girls basketball. I know we got Maya here on the varsity team. A really young core. Need people like Maya to step up this year. And hopefully get leaders out of the juniors, Jakaya and Jane and Atilia. One senior on the team, Desaya, so she needs to show out. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, the varsity boys basketball team, after losing to Albemarle in the second round of the playoffs last year, they opened up with Albemarle for this season and ended up beating them. So that's a pretty good omen for how the rest of the season is going to play out at the Kentucky team that they lost to in the playoffs. So
I think another squad we can look at is our wrestling team. We did lose two-time state tournament finalist Guillermo Torres, but we do still return Nathan Henderson, who's a sophomore, Fahad Mohammed, who's a senior. Actually, well, Fahad's not wrestling this year, but Nathan's still a solid returner, and we got a couple others that are returning back. So I think we still have a shot to be a solid wrestling squad.
Okay, I think going back to basketball, I think that for the girls team especially, with 5 freshmen on the team and you only have 4 upperclassmen and then you have 2 sophomores, I think that the team this year is going to be a learning experience and just getting used to playing together and knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the first 2 games were both losses for the girls, but I think that later in the season they're going to learn to come together and we're going to be able to win some games.
All right, now we'll move on to sports on the national scale. First off, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who this week were unable to come away with a win in Denver. They fell after Roethlisberger threw an interception at the 2-yard line. It was the second straight week they had a questionable play call to end the game. So what are you guys thinking about the Steelers' outlook for the rest of the season?
Well, Simon and I are Steelers fans, so this is a little jab at us. But
it's a touchy
our
subject.
coaching staff needs to make changes. You have a great young back in James Conner, right? So run the football. Why would you give the ball to Big Ben? Like, the week it worked out, right? And plus, he's the most immobile old dude you've ever seen. Plus, he already had a broken finger. You don't want him to get hurt. Give it to Connor up the middle. You have one of the best offensive lines.
If not the best.
Run the football. That's all I have to say.
I think that game was really key. I mean, they dropped to 7-3-1, and they dropped out of the second spot in the AFC, so that loss to Denver was crucial.
Yeah, they don't have an easy schedule the rest of the way either. So
I think this loss, you could have seen it coming though, because they barely snuck out against Cincinnati Bengals with a touchdown with 9 seconds left to Antonio Brown.
and Jacksonville.
And yeah, Jacksonville, Big Ben dove for a touchdown with 3 seconds left, and if he hadn't made it, the clock would have run out and they would have lost. So a loss like this was kind of expected. So now the Steelers are taking on the Chargers this week, but the Chargers are without star running back Melvin Gordon. So the defense should have a lot less trouble with Keenan Allen and Phillip Rivers to prepare for, instead of just the whole dynamic.
All right, staying in the NFL, we still got a lot of teams fighting for these last few playoff spots. On Thanksgiving Day, the Cowboys took down the Redskins. They moved into first in the NFC East. We still got a logjam in the AFC for those wild card spots, a bunch of teams at 6 and 5. So who are you guys thinking of as your sleepers?
Sleepers, I'd like to go back to the Broncos. They have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, playing the Chiefs twice, the Rams once, the Chargers twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they played the Chiefs close, the Rams close. They're always one score, a field goal away from really breaking out. So I'd watch out for them the next couple weeks.
I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be really big in the AFC, especially since Pittsburgh dropped out of that top spot. And then you have the Patriots, who haven't been playing good this year, but they have Gronk coming back, and they have Tom Brady still. I mean, Tom Brady's Tom Brady, so you can't really forget about them.
The Patriots are not going to do much this year in the postseason. They're probably losing in the first round. They're not getting the first round bye, and they're losing in the first round.
Can't forget about Andrew Luck and the Colts either. I've been liking what they're doing. Yeah, 5 straight wins. Can't forget about that.
Andrew Luck's on my fantasy team.
And the season, comeback player of the year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they're able to pull out that second wild card spot. Now we'll move on to the ranks of college football. Big 12 championship this week. Number 5 Oklahoma versus Texas. They're somewhere around. They were 14 last week. They did move up. Oklahoma won this matchup earlier in the season, And as usual with this Red River rivalry, there's been a lot of trash talk. Earlier in the year, Texas linebacker Brecken Hager released some statements about Oklahoma that did not go over very well with the Sooner squad. And then Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray recently said he does not respect Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger. So there's obviously going to be some hot-headed stuff coming into this game. How do you guys see this, and how's it going to play out?
I'll go first. All right, so Ehlinger has been like very calm, collected, hasn't talked a lot of smack throughout this whole thing, and he doesn't have to. They won the game last year. Like, he has nothing to be hurt about. He's confident. He's like, all right, little boy, like, sit down. Like, we beat you. What are your guys' thoughts on, like, the horns down and how that's a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty now?
I'm gonna go back to that. I think Kyler Murray is a far superior player than Sam Ehlinger. I mean, Ehlinger's had a great season. He's really quarterback Texas strong. He's been efficient. He hasn't turned the ball over. But, like, looking at the season Kyler Murray's had, I think it's fair to say he might be having a better year than Tua Tagovailoa. And that's saying something. I mean, the Heisman race is going to be interesting for sure. And I think it's going to come down to which defense is able to get a stop, because both of these offenses are great.
Yeah, I think, well, you have both quarterbacks who have a lot of hype like around them in this matchup. I think the defensive lines are going to be really key, and how many stops they can get.
Earlier in the so Ehlinger hasn't played the whole season because he was hurt. So Shane Buechele actually came in and played the game against Oklahoma earlier in the season. So this is Ehlinger's first shot at Kyler Murray and the Oklahoma defense. So I think he'll be ready to do it, and I think Texas can pull it off.
Do you think Murray's emotions will get the best of him? He gets so, like, aggravated up until the game, and, like, I think that Ehlinger's, like, calmness will help him in the pocket. Like, he's not going to try to make the big play. Like, he's not going to force anything. He's going to, like, go through the motion.
Also, yeah, what do you guys think about that horns down thing? Because I think it's a little bit, I think that's petty. Like, just let him do it. Who cares? Can't talk trash on Texas? Like, I don't know. All right. Still in college football, we got a lot of bad programs, or at least in the Power 5, that are hiring coaches that haven't coached in a while to come back, sort of like the Raiders with John Gruden, but in a lesser rank. So we got the University of North Carolina recently hired Mack Brown. Kansas just hired Les Miles to coach. They've been traditionally two of the worst Power 5 programs in the nation. How do you guys see this playing out for these schools and these coaches?
Well, Mack Brown is a great recruiter. He just yesterday, the Texas A&M tight ends coach has already committed to come coach for UNC, and that's going to be another huge dent in the ACC, in ACC recruiting. So I don't know. UNC might be kind of a threat in the Coastal next year.
Yeah, I think especially because he has experience with it, I think it's going to help him, especially coming back to UNC. Without like a break between coaching jobs, I think it's going to be really important for UNC this year.
And with Kelly Bryant transferring from Clemson, his two choices were Syracuse or UNC. So now that Mack Brown's down there at Chapel Hill, he might have to swoop in.
Ooh, that's going to be a track. What about Les Miles at Kansas?
I don't care about the Big 12.
Well, Kansas actually, they traditionally in the last 10 years, they have been by far the worst team in the Big 12, but don't forget about the 2007 season. They made a run to the Rose Bowl. This isn't a program that can't win. It's just a program that hasn't recruited well. So I don't know. I mean, with Les Miles at the helm, things could change for the Jayhawks.
Wasn't there, like, rumor a long time ago, right, that Les Miles was going to go to Kansas?
Yeah.
And then he got, like, super mad and, like, bashed the program. I would never go there. Well, buddy, look at you now.
All right, we're going to stay in college. We're going to move over to basketball. The season's just getting underway, and already Duke is taking over. Their three highly touted freshmen, Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish, have really just shocked the entire college basketball world. So this brings up the age-old question, should they be allowed to go one and done? No other sport's allowed to do it, so why college basketball?
I think yes. I mean, you have these guys who are playing at such a different level than the rest of college basketball players, and you have teams in the NBA right now like the Cavs who are 4-16 who need that like extra boost to like build around Colin Sexton, people like that. So I think that Zion and R.J. Barrett and the rest of these really like these top freshmen should be able to just go into the draft in the upcoming NBA season.
I think they should stay and help out their team because at Virginia Tech, Justin Robinson, returning senior, has been in the program. And Emmett Hill, he's a fifth-year graduate senior. They've been in their program since their freshman year.
But are they going to get drafted?
Yeah, that's the difference.
Okay, so, but they, yeah, absolutely. He's like one of the best point guards in the nation. If he's in the running for the Wooden Award. So yes, he is a very good point guard. But they've stayed since their freshman year and turned the program completely around. And so now they're sitting at 13th in the rankings and a 5-1 record. And kind of top in the ACC, so.
Yeah.
Well, aside from that,
So hold on. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but does Tech not have this kid that like he failed like all of his classes through high school, right? Like was like a DC average. Right?
Oh, knowledge? Yeah.
And then somehow managed to pull out a super high score on his SAT. So he's having to like retake his SAT. So like, what if he faked it, Simon? That brings a cheating culture over to Tech.
Well, he's not playing right now because he has to retake it, which I think is stupid. He may have just not paid attention in class and been really smart.
And do you think Tech basketball is better than UVA basketball?
I beat him last year.
I mean, UVA basketball
And
number
Sargsville.
4 in the nation right now.
Yeah, just
7-0. They
just
just beat a
wait.
ranked team.
7-0.
It'll-
You know what UVA has that Tech doesn't? A loss. A loss.
Wait, that was backwards. UVA does not have a loss.
Oh wow. That's
You heard
Hey, bro, that was close enough. Well, I guess my other question about this is, if they can go one and done, why not just let them go out of high school? Like, what's the difference on that?
Because, I mean, it's college. Like, you have to do something in college. You can't, like, you have players like LeBron who went straight from high school to NBA. And, like, while LeBron's, like, a great guy and everything, and I love him, but, like, college is college. Like, you need somewhat of an education.
Michael Jordan went to college for 4 years before going to the NBA.
Yeah, because these kids don't get a degree at all. So what if they blow out, right? And, all right, let's be real. A lot of these kids are not smart with their signing bonuses. So they go out, they buy a bunch of, like, stuff that they don't need. A fast car.
Them kicks.
And designer clothes, yeah.
Yeah, designer clothes, really big chain, whatever they desire. Instead of, like, being smart, saving their money. So then they go to the NBA, they blow out, they have an injury, then they're screwed, they have nothing. They don't have money to pay for their school.
Yeah.
Like, they've relied on athletics their whole life, and then once that's taken away, what do they have?
Like the points. All right, now we're going to move on to our biggest segment, the 3 lowlights of sports this week. So basically, we're going to go around here, we're going to give each of these things a grade on how bad it actually is from 0 to 5. We're going to give a little blurb about it. So, first thing, Joel Embiid's missed dunk. For anybody who didn't see it, man had a free lane to the basket, tried a windmill, and he's not the most athletic dude in the world, just clanked it off the back rim, wasn't even close. How do you guys see that one?
On a scale of 1 to 5, I'd probably have to give that one about a 4.5 out of 5. This man, it was wide open lane, and he cocks back, he's ready to throw it down, and it bounces way out. It was really funny. Probably pretty embarrassing for him. I don't know if he talked much after that game.
I'm gonna have to toss that one a 4.5 as well, mainly just because Joel Embiid is such a trash talker outside of the court. He likes to throw shots at other players. He likes to hit up singers on like Twitter and stuff. Like he's an upfront guy. But if you're gonna be like that, you got to be able to perform in the big situations. And missing a wide open windmill dunk isn't gonna do that for you. So
That's facts. I have 2 words, rim stuff. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I think I'd have to give that a 4. It was wide open. But, I mean, it's still Embiid, so he still has these really good, like, poster dunks and stuff, so I got to give him something.
this is true. All right, we'll move on to Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey. As a Buffalo Bills fan myself, I personally have a lot of hate for this man. Because in the preseason, as a lot of people know, he released statements on rookie quarterback Josh Allen saying, quote, he's trash, that's a stupid draft pick to me, and he responded to a Bills tweet saying that's a pick waiting to happen. Well, this week, Allen and the Bills just upset Jacksonville 24-21, so a lot of Jalen Ramsey's trash talk is going out the window as Jacksonville's sitting at 3-8. So what would you give that one?
I'd probably give this one about a 5 because it wasn't just Josh Allen that he called out. He called out Big Ben. He called out Andrew Luck. A bunch of these other like super studs, and the teams that he called out have just been lighting up the Jaguars, and they're sitting at 3-8. So that's probably
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
the
big L for him.
He's throwing jabs at the greats. Like, he's called out Brady, Steve Smith Sr., who else? AJ Green.
He's not.
Yeah,
he's
he-
retired.
Yeah, but he still called
No,
him
no,
out
he
last
called him
year.
out. Like, last year. I'm talking, like, all-time career here. Like, so you can't throw jabs at these, like, greats when your career's only beginning, you know? Like, he could be like, all right, 2 years, 3 years, and then, oh, you kind of peaked. Or, like, but these guys have, like, Hall of Fame careers. So don't call out the greats when I'm sure Brady would throw for, like, 400 yards against you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give this one about a 4 because, like, yeah, Ramsey's a great quarterback or cornerback in his own right, and it's not all his fault. Obviously, they lost to Buffalo, but just shut up. Like, when your team isn't playing well, just be quiet. Even during the game, he got called for a penalty on a ball that he intercepted, and then it got called back for illegal contact, and he was pointing to the Bills bench, going, "quote You're
You're
trash.
trash.
You're trash."
I
Just
have-
shut up.
Yeah,
If you're
gonna-
losing to the Buffalo Bills, just be quiet.
Yeah, I'd have to say 4.5 because, I mean, yeah, you can take jabs at other players sometimes. You can trash talk, but when your team is so bad, you can't talk about these other like really amazing quarterbacks when you have won like 4 games this season. I mean, like three. Like you can't do that.
All right, and our final one. This is the one I know we've been most excited to talk about. For anybody who didn't see the Patriots-Jets game this weekend, which I can see why a lot of people wouldn't want to watch that game, Cordero Patterson, a Patriots wide receiver, decided to kind of put his hand where the sun doesn't shine on a
And
Jets
then
line.
proceed to move up.
So I feel like we have a pretty big consensus on what that ranks on this.
Yeah, it's a whole 5 because he used all 5 fingers to get up there. It was bad. All right, he didn't just push him off. You could have used 2 hands. Shove the guy off of you if he's really on top of you. He's just trying to get off the dog pile, right? But this man, whole-fisted, not just pushed him, but continued to just penetrate. And I mean. Afterwards, he was asked about this, right? Because obviously everybody's like, what the heck is this guy doing? And he said, I'm a grown man. Now,
I don't know what that implies, but I feel like it still doesn't give you the right to do that in the middle of the NFL.
And
His
if you're
fist
a-
disappeared.
if you're a grown man, you should know that is the worst situation to handle that. Because you're in the NFL. That play didn't just happen one time. They got that on 7 different angles.
I'm gonna have
Oh
to
my
give that one
gosh.
about a 7 out of 5. That should be like an automatic 30-yard penalty and free field goal try or something.
I'd suspend him if I were Roger Goodell. I mean, as comedic as it was to watch for that dude, I understand if he's completely mentally scarred after that. Because on live television, yeah, I would not want to be that dude. Or Cordero Patterson, but especially the Jets guy.
Yeah, you could just tell by his face. Like it was just uncomfortable to watch over and over and over. You're like, oh my god.
All right, well, we're going to sound off here at Blue Streak Sports Talk. I'm Owen Stewart with Owen Marshall, Simon Beach, and Maya Wade. Thank you for watching.